Jacksonville, and she's a triple threat. She has a degree in psychology, criminology, and law. In other words, do not mess with her. But she is so sweet and kind and fabulous. I've really enjoyed getting to know her through her storytelling. Please welcome Andrea.
It is the morning of January 20th, 2017. And for the past 3 months, I have been walking around with this terrible, gloomy, heavy shadow on my head, kind of like a nasty hangover that just won't go away. The 44th President of the United States has just taken office, and I am an immigration attorney. 5 days later, he issues an executive order titled Enforcing the Public Safety of the Interior of the United States, which effectively prioritized the deportation for all immigrants. Those that are documented, those that were undocumented, those with US citizen children and US citizen spouses, those who had paid taxes, who had no criminal records, those who had started businesses and built family homes. All immigrants became priorities. Within a couple days of that executive order being issued, the phones in my office begin to ring off the hook. 5 to 10 calls a day. An ICE raid here, an ICE raid there, arrested immigrants everywhere. Construction sites, parking lots at daycares, gas stations, Nassau County, St. Johns County, Clay County, and good old Duval. Once 44th took over, change was the only constant in my office, and for the next 4 years, in immigration laws. And for those same 4 years, I marched, and I protested, and I screamed at the top of my lungs, no one is illegal. Now, we laugh about it now, but back then, my office was under siege. And the best way I can describe it is with one of my favorite memes. You know it. It's a dog, he's sitting down at a table, drinking his coffee, seemingly calm. He's got this cute little sombrero on, but his eyes are going in a different direction, and he's got this dumbfounded, almost innocent look on his face. Meanwhile, the whole damn room is on fire. And the catchphrase? It's fine, I'm fine, everything's fine. I had to immediately start taking care of this chaos in my office, and the way we did that was to simplify the way that we got information from devastated family members, streamline the determination of how to determine who could and could not be helped, and create systems and protocols for each type of deportation case. Now, we were able to help a lot of families during that time, but those losses weighed heavily on our souls. Yeah, the highs were high, but when that lightning struck, the lows were so heartbreaking low. Did you know that there are about 4 different ways that lightning can strike? There are direct strikes, side flashes, ground current, and conduction. And I can adamantly say that beginning 2017, it caused me, my team, my clients, my humble, honest, hardworking clients to be struck deeply and painfully in all 4 ways. Let me show you how. In a direct strike, lightning strikes the person directly, and the person becomes a part of the lightning discharge channel. For this, I'll refer to George. I had been representing George since 2015, when him and his wife were expecting their 5th child. George owned a construction company and was the sole provider for that family. They had 4 US citizen children, 2 of which were in advanced honor classes. He had no criminal record, and he had great moral character, and therefore he was able to apply for a legal process called a stay of removal. Now, in December of 2016, we had applied for the 2nd renewal of his stay of removal. Then, in March of 2017, after the change, my client and I walk into ICE for what is supposed to be a normal check-in. Instead, we are blindsided. George is detained on the spot, handcuffed in shackles, as if he's a mass murder criminal. ICE had denied our application right after the executive order was issued and had failed to provide us with the decision that had been dated 2 months before. I argued and I pleaded with the ICE supervisors to no avail. With his head bowed down, he tells me to take his keys out of one pocket and his wallet out of the other pocket and to take the hat off his head. He says, "Please give my wife my belongings." And with tears in his eyes, he tells me, "Tell my wife I love her, and tell my kids I will always be here for them." And just like that, ICE took him to another room, and I never saw George again. I get in my car and I drive. I am angry, I am furious, but I have to compose myself because his wife is waiting for me at the office. His wife, who at this point had developed a tumor in her ovaries, was there with their 1-year-old child, the baby I had met in their womb 2 years before. I walk into the conference room without him, and she immediately explodes in emotion. No words need to be said. She knew. And I tried to calm her down. I tried to sell her the lie that everything is going to be okay, to just breathe. And as I am consoling her, the baby picks up Daddy's hat, and he looks at it, and he flips it, and he puts it on his tiny head. I look at her, and she looks at me. I lose it, and she's beyond gone. Lightning had struck George, and it had devastated his innocent family. And I had been the side flash here. A side flash occurs in essence when a person acts as a short circuit for some energy in the lightning discharge. I had short circuited in this family. I had malfunctioned, and I had been unable to save George from this strike. Now, the third type of lightning occurs when a lightning strikes a tree or an object and the energy flows downward in and around the ground surface. Anyone outside near a lightning strike is a potential victim of ground current. Well, all manufacturing, all agricultural, construction, hospitality, restaurants, hotel industries, those are all massively affected by all these policy changes. Anyone on the ground was a potential victim. No one was safe. Ironically, these are some of the same fields that are currently facing labor shortages today. Now, this fourth type of lightning is an ongoing one. In conduction, lightning strikes and it travels long distances through wires or metal surfaces, allowing the lightning to continue on. A perfect example of this, what's happening at the federal court systems now, including immigration courts and the Board of Immigration Appeals. All of these judicial bodies are filled with 44's appointees. And so we will see the effect of his intentions travel long distances for many years to come. For conduction, I'll refer to Charlie. Charlie has a United States citizen wife who has a life-threatening medical condition. They have 3 U.S. citizen children, some of who also have some medical conditions of their own. In 2018, Charlie and his wife, unrepresented, go to ICE for what is supposed to be a normal check-in. To their surprise, ICE attempts to arrest Charlie on the spot, but the wife pleads with ICE, "Please, ICE, please do not arrest my husband. I need him. I will die without him." Nonchalantly, ICE says, "Okay, you can go home today, but you better come back in 2 weeks with a one-way ticket back to your country." Charlie had been here since he was 16 years old. He had lived here for 30 years of his life. The U.S. was his only home. He hires me, and I get immediately to work. Now, for the next year, we face an uphill battle as the federal courts and the immigration courts are all over the place. The United States Supreme Court had issued a decision that was favorable to his case, so I filed an emergency motion to stop his deportation, and I filed a motion to reopen his deportation case. Motion to stop his deportation, granted. Motion to reopen, denied. I file an appeal. As the federal courts and the immigration courts battle against each other, issuing conflicting decisions, my appeal is denied. I filed 2 more motions. motion denied, motion denied. It is April of 2021, and the US Supreme Court issues a second favorable decision in Charlie's case, so I file another motion to reopen. It is December of 2022, a few days before Christmas, when we get the news that his motion to reopen has been granted. It took a year and a half from our last motion to be able to say, finally, he gets to have his day in court. He gets to fight. All of these changes in the courts and in the policies and in the laws required us to file 5 motions, have an endless river of tears, endless sleepless nights, a lot of FedEx overnight packages, multiple attorney collaborations, over 300 of attorney work hours, and still counting today. And of course, the endless patience of my team and I, just to keep this one family together. One of my non-immigration attorney friends recently said to me, if I practiced immigration law, I would be bald from pulling out my hair from the frustration. Which explains why so many people ask me, how do you do what you do when it's so emotionally taxing? To me, it's simple. I know what it's like to survive in chaos, to not have a voice, to not have any control, to not know what the future holds. I know too well what it's like to navigate the landmines of family turmoil. You see, I come from a dysfunctional childhood where family separation took multiple different forms, from migration to the US, to separation from adoption, to punishments, to foster homes. A childhood of physical abuse and sexual assault, having had my innocence taken away at the age of 11, raped by a distant family member. The first 13 chaotic years of my life taught me survival skills and dysfunctionality. But thankfully, my very wise and forward-thinking abuelita got me into therapy at the age of 14. I did intensive therapy for about 3 years until I was 17. That is, of course, until she kicked me out for being insubordinate. Which is hysterical given the fact that my grandmother today is like one of my best friends. But back then, not so much. This 17-year-old insubordinate then went off to crash on her sister's couch, and a year later went off to college where I excelled in the university. I graduated with a double major, and I was able to do so all while I partied and worked multiple jobs. In law school, someone said to me, if you had been a hooker on the corner of 8th Street, nobody would have wondered why. And it took me years to accept that as a potential truth. But having gone back to therapy multiple times in my life, I finally understood what it meant. The operative words were could have. But no, instead, the chaos of my trauma taught me to be the good student, to be the jokester, to be the clown, to be the empathetic listener. These were the masks that helped me cope as a child growing up. They have helped mold my character and my resolve and are very much a part of who I am today. In 2020, I took a personality assessment called the Gallup Strength Finder, where I discovered that I am a woo. I win others over. This means I connect effortlessly to people, my friends, my clients, complete strangers, in ways that often shocks them. I listen to their stories, and I ask the right questions, often the uncomfortable ones. It is what has made me a great advocate for immigrants who do not have a voice or do not know how to use their own voice. Lightning is chaotic, and thriving in chaos has been my specialty. But they say that there is beauty in the chaos. So the beauty in my chaos must be that it helped turn my lived trauma experience into a healing and restorative process for others. That it built me for the chaos of that lightning strike. I've been working in immigration law since 2010 while I was in law school. Coincidentally, around the same time that Peanut, my fur baby, picked me as her human. For the past 8.5 years, I have dedicated my work to keeping families together while she has kept me together. Now, as we enter 2023, my team and I will start to prioritize our mental health and will start to spend more time with our families as we've just converted to a 4-day work week. So, you haven't seen me in the past 8.5 years? Now you know I'm free on Fridays.